This NFL draft grades and round 2 bets edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Shady Rays. Shady Rays is having their best deal of the year. Go to shadyrays.com and use code SGPN for 50% off 2+ pairs, polarized shades, and go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/shady to enter the Shady Rays Parlay of the Day contest.
Hey, it's Peyton Manning, and you're listening to SGPN. Let's rock.
Welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, second the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
Dog. Oh, look at me. I'm over here peeling a banana first before I eat it. Oh, look at this.
That's round one technique.
All right, and I'm still on the board for the second round as well. Here's some coffee without mayonnaise in it.
Very, very easy, Will Levis.
Oh, and look at me. I'm still on the board in the second round. Oh, baby. Nice. Good banana.
Good banana. We got a great show for you today. We're going to basically give out a round 1 draft grades, a recap of what was a pretty wild draft. And then there are some round 2 draft prop bets. So again, we'll give out some of our favorite picks for that, and we'll close out the show with the Shady Rays parlay of the day. The one yesterday didn't hit, but again, we're going big or going home with the Shady Rays parlay. Go to shadyrays.com. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/shady. Get entered in there. All you got to do is send in your Shady Rays receipt, and you have a chance to win the Shady Rays parlay of the day. I'm looking at it now. I'm seeing it as plus 347 0. So a nice $50 times that, you will be cooking.
Very exact. And again, make sure you get in for the last day, because there are some lead pipe parlay.
We will be working. We will be working some XFL spring football into the final parlay on Saturday.
Some SpaceX style boosters to our parlay. Hopefully it doesn't rapidly disassemble in an unplanned way.
So you want to do the draft grades first and then the prop bets are on?
Yeah. That makes sense.
All right, and of course, shout out to me, dominating.
Let the people
know.
Mock
draft awards. I tied for first in the Huddle Report. The Huddle Report is the invite only mock draft. So you might know guys like Daniel Jeremiah.
Oh wow,
Peter
I've heard of
Schrager.
Heard of him.
All those guys lost to Sean, stacking the money green. I've changed my
what did
Twitter
you win?
bio. Right, it's all about pride. You know, like Jalen Hurts said, money is nice, but winning is more important. And you can tell, in case you don't notice, on my Twitter, I've updated my name to Sean Most Accurate Mock Green.
Oh wow! Did you lose your check mark? Did that cause you to lose your check mark? They can't verify that first name.
The Huddle Report was obviously impressive because it's the invite only one. But then there's the mock draft database, which scores essentially everyone who puts out a mock draft. 1,529 entries. You know who came in number 1? Sean.
Was it you?
Stacking the money green. Sean, most accurate mock green.
Wow.
Let's go.
What a day for the audience of this fine show.
Sometimes you got to tout. I mean, it is pretty funny me beating guys like guys who are actually talking to GMs, guys who are actually have guys in the building. Just little old me grinding, keeping my nose to the grindstone. I do it for the fans.
Over to the Philadelphia Eagles.
What is this?
First round pick Jalen Reagor. I love it. They need outside speed. They addressed outside speed. Justin Jefferson, solid receiver, but he can't beat press coverage. You need a guy on the outside in this offense that can beat press coverage. The 12 personnel with Zach.
All right, we don't have to do the whole thing. If you want the full thing, Colby pulled some nice gems. Jalen Hurts one too. I might use in the future, but Just wanted to bring you back down to earth. Make sure you're grounded. Draft night. Sometimes the players can get too high.
Me touting Rager over Justin Jefferson and me insulting Jalen Hurts. I still don't think you draft a backup quarterback in the second round, and I think they could have got him in the third.
I didn't even play the audio yet, so just save your defense for when we actually listen.
It was played in the live draft show. That was a lot of fun. 4-hour stream. Shout out to everyone who hopped on youtube.com/sportsgambling podcast. That subscribe button if you want to catch up on that. There was a lot of great moments. Of course, Capper responding to the Patriots trading down, losing his mind. Although, and then the Patriots end up having a pretty good pick.
I was going to ask you, what was the moment of the stream? And I was actually, as I was going through I was walking the dogs early this morning. The sun's rising. It's beautiful. I wish my guy Bill Walton was there to describe it for me as it was happening. But as I was thinking, I was like, well, not too much crazy shit happened. There wasn't any like real holy shit, like everyone's faces covered because they don't know what to say. It was the Capper moment. That was it. Capper calling the trade down, then being equally angry at the trade down. That to me, that was the moment of the stream. Colby playing videos and
we had some great viral videos.
Listening to you just completely shit all over the idea of Jalen Hurts. A lot of great moments, but Capper won the night for me.
All right, let's get to it. Let's rattle off these draft grades. Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, I guess you say A, right?
Yeah, I mean,
we won't talk about we won't address what the Bears get additionally out of the deal until like 3 or 4 years from now. So Bryce Young, hey baby.
Yeah, I mean they got the best quarterback in the draft.
Steph Curry of the NFL. That's what I've been told.
I think that one's pretty simple. Houston Texans, CJ Stroud, number 2 overall. I think that's
2 score a little low.
Well, and we should have been tipped off when the Texans went out of their way to go. Listen, by the way, that's 2 scores. We don't care about them.
Do you want to know?
That'd be like if you all of us. Like if you went out of your way to say, "Hey, girls with weird noses, it doesn't bother me at all,"
yeah,
and then all of a sudden your girlfriend turns out to have a weird nose. They were clearly getting ahead of something there.
Well, and just so people know, this isn't like it. 100% of the teams in the NFL do not adopt S2. Only half.
Yeah,
it's a private company. Like they're literally only doing business with half. So in the Texans' defense, it's not like they're like 1 out of 31 saying we don't buy this. But I can't give this an A. I think CJ Stroud is a poor man's Justin Fields, and as we've seen, Justin Fields taking a couple extra pumps from the arm to get the old lawnmower started.
This feels like a B. I mean, they got probably the best quarterback available.
You know why it's a B?
Or at least like the one that needs the least amount of work.
It's a B from it's. Give me a B plus. Here's why it's a B plus.
Okay.
100% because they didn't take Will Levis. And they took a quarterback. They didn't risk it.
All right,
we spent a lot of time talking about how they can't risk it, and they didn't risk it. So I'm happy for them.
Now is where things get interesting. Will Anderson goes number 3 to the Texans again. I'm gonna go. You're giving it an A.
Yeah, I don't give a shit about I'm not I mean, this is where I'd expect you to come into, but the draft capital fucking police out there.
I'm gonna give it a C-. I don't think you can give up that much draft capital for.
They got their guy. They got both their guys.
Yeah, but now you don't have your first round pick. They didn't trade the Cleveland Browns first round pick. They traded their first round pick for next year.
Now, huh?
Well, I'm saying that pick could be pretty valuable, especially in a year where people are going to be rock hard to do whatever it takes to get Caleb Williams. That pick could be worth a ton.
If this is a different franchise, I think we're speaking differently about the trade.
I disagree.
Yeah?
Anytime you trade up that much for a non-quarterback, the guy has to be like Joey Bosa.
I generally agree with your take on that, but I'm grading the draft pick.
Okay, you could grade how you want. I'm just saying
you didn't apply this level of scrutiny to how much the Panthers gave to come up because they
a quarterback is different.
Okay,
yeah, I mean trading up for a non-quarterback rarely works out.
Yeah, and I guess you're splitting hairs because they this could have been the trade up for Stroud. Like so, if we swap these picks and they go Anderson 2, as a lot of people thought they could. And they trade up for Stroud. Are you saying the same things about this?
I guess that's fair, but I think it's just way too much to give up for Will
That's
Anderson.
my main argument for the draft capital police. It's like, look, they give Anderson the 2 pick, they trade up for Stroud. You like it better, so that would be my argument. But you know what? You talked me down a little bit. I'll give it a B+.
Okay, knocking it down to a B+.
I'm in on the Texans this year.
I'm going C-. Our man AR-15 goes to the Indianapolis Colts there at 4. Again, they didn't draft Will Levis. There was all he's definitely going inside sources. Will Levis, lock it up. And it was Anthony Richardson seemingly the entire time.
F.
Hey, wow, that's a hot take. All right, F.
You don't have a team where you can sit him on the bench for a year.
You don't think they can play Minshew?
No.
Okay,
It's a completely different offense. Like, what's he going to be learning?
that's fair. I think Shane Steichen. You like what you've seen out of Shane Steichen. You like to see the way he developed Jalen Hurts. That was
Agreed.
a nice. You're in a division which could be pretty wide open. I think the Jaguars, we haven't even gotten to it. Cam Robinson's going to miss 6 weeks for a PED. They could be dealing with some tackle issues in Jacksonville.
The Jags and the Lions, everyone's darlings, are fucking cheating like motherfuckers.
they're really, they became the internet's darlings and they're just destroying it. I'll just give it a C. It feels like a pretty average pick here.
I can't change my tune on Anthony Richardson.
Yeah,
I think he's going to be, I don't think
you don't love drafting a project at number 4.
I get it.
And I think that
how much like this is where you talk. This is how you talk back to the nerds that are like, but his ceiling. Okay, what percentage of that range of outcome slice is him actually being a Pro Bowl quarterback? How many times does he get to Pro Bowl caliber? I've heard people say fantasy. Well, you don't need to do much to be.
Yeah, he's interesting useful, in fantasy.
But is he really going to be a good quarterback? I don't know why everyone's like, oh yeah, Indy. He's dropping into this great situation. Why is it a great situation?
I think I'm optimistic on Shane Steichen. I thought he did a good job developing quarterbacks and good job play calling. He still needs a lot of work. And if you're drafting a project last year? If you're drafting a project at 4, it's hard to be super excited. Now, maybe some of this grading is
over under 6.5 wins. Gun to your head right now. I'm just taking the under. Fuck it, max play. I'm shopping hungry.
Someone in the AFC South has to do all right.
It's the Texans, baby. I guess they're
all right. Next up, we got the Seahawks drafting Devin Witherspoon. I had them drafting Witherspoon. They drafted him. I'm giving this a straight A. I think he's a scrappy dude.
I think
Pete Carroll likes. Oh, Devin.
Yeah.
Devin Witherspoon. He's a scrappy guy. Like, by all accounts, the film on him was really good. I like his intensity. And I think Pete Carroll knows how to get the most out of a guy like Devin Witherspoon.
He's the sauce.
Super competitive guy.
He's the Sauce Gardner this year, as compared to Gonzalez being.
Like, he doesn't necessarily have the arm length and maybe some of those traits, but he seems to make up for it in dog. So what are you going, Ryan?
Oh, I like the pick. I think they did a good job of smoke screening too. I think Pete Carroll's starting to have fun with the draft process as he's getting older.
He was tweeting out like Love Is Blind links and the Kraken link. He had all these draft clues he was tweeting.
And if he's truly out on a guy like Jalen Carter, then this is the obvious pick. This is the best player available. And we were pretty close to getting Devin Witherspoon first defensive player, Sean. We were early on that in the process. So yeah, nice cash for us too though. First cornerback, almost 2-1. I'm not going full. You know what? I'll go A. It's good grade, good pick.
Yeah, hard to have any beef with it. Cardinals, who traded down and got their guy, Paris Johnson. Hard to really.
Well, traded down, then traded back up.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot about that. I'll go B+ here. They just need so much. I feel like you can't go wrong taking the first tackle at 6.
Weak tackle class, though.
Yeah, that's also true. But again, you're the Cardinals. You need so much. Why not get an offensive lineman?
Also think
I'll go B+.
I think if they hold, it sounds like the Bears were always going to take Darnell, right? It sounds like the Titans were always going to take Skronsky. So if they just trade down, hold at 12, they could have gotten this guy.
Maybe you're right.
And I wonder, and I would have cashed my Darnell Wright first lineman off the board. So I wonder, for that reason, I have to downgrade it. I also don't like, it wasn't a good tackle class. I don't love the idea of trading back up for that tackle. So a lot of the same reasons you killed the Texans for the second pick. I'll say I'll give it a C plus. At least they listen to Kyler, which also that's not a. I don't think that's a good strat. You know what? Downgrade to a D because they listen to Kyler.
All right, that's fair. Raiders take Tyree Wilson. A lot of people were, Lance Zierlein had him going number 2 to the Texans. Yeah. There was a lot of steam for him to be the number 1 defensive player drafted. Them getting a pass rusher at 7. I guess his comps there are Chandler Jones. I think my only knock is he doesn't seem to have the bend that some of these great elite pass rushers have. But he had some good games against some decent talent.
Very
big dude. I think he could be a nice pickup. I'll give this a solid B plus. What are you doing, Kramer?
I don't see like people that are crushing the Raiders for this pick. I don't quite get. You gotta rush the passer in that division. You got
Herbert and you got Patty Mahomes. You can never have too many good pass rushers.
I'm fine with that being a B plus. If anything, I think I would be crushing the Raiders for almost every other position here. So I don't mind this.
No, I mean again, they're kind of like the Cardinals in that they just have a bunch of holes.
Good scenario for him too, coming in with some with a guy like Crosby.
Yeah, I mean, again, guys going to Vegas, you really have to have a good head on your shoulders because living out there if you're young with a bunch of money, I mean.
Ooh.
Danger.
And obviously we saw the unfortunate worst case with a guy like Henry Ruggs. Like it's easy to get lost in Vegas if you're a millionaire. Number 8, Atlanta Falcons, Bijan Robinson. I said this a number of times. I didn't think the Eagles were ever going to take Bijan Robinson.
Seems like the odds market was in on this and we were just being naive. I'm a little somewhat surprising based on the fact of
I had in my mock I had them taking Bijan at 8 here. It seemed like a thing they would do. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make. I mean, the Falcons are crazy. How many top 10 picks have they spent on running backs, tight ends, basically not offensive linemen, D linemen, or quarterbacks? It's insane. And now you're starting Desmond Ridder, a 5th round pick, who maybe he's okay.
Are they done?
The quarterback?
We've heard.
What's their move? Trey Lance?
Hendon Hooker.
Ryan
Tannehill.
Will Levis still on the board. We'll get to that.
Yeah. So look, what did I tell you? I was like, I thought if Jalen Carter made it to them, they should take Jalen Carter. They didn't take Jalen Carter. This is maybe outside of a quarterback. This is the pick that makes the least sense to me. Tyler Algier looked just fine in that offense.
Yeah, he looked good. He gave them some good pop.
I hope that just like the Seahawks in the year before, we are all wrong when this team comes out and is just smashing their division specifically over the head with a power running attack. They are competing against teams in their division that are generally thought of as soft.
Yeah. Why not get? I mean, again, you look at Jalen Carter was on the board.
This makes me like their division future better this year, but I see why this isn't an A+ pick.
I'm giving it a D.
Yeah, I would say we'll go C+.
C+ for Kramer. Yeah, I mean, you could. I think he was a luxury pick. If your offense is already completely set and you have dominant trench play, I just don't see it at 8, especially.
Yeah, agree.
Philadelphia Eagles, my Philadelphia Eagles. Some debate who dominated the draft more, myself in the mocks or the Philadelphia Eagles in real life. Howie gets his guy, has to only trade up 1 spot. I'm gonna give it a A+.
Was someone coming? Because the Bears weren't taken.
Do you know that for sure?
100%. I mean, based on what I've even read in post, at post draft, based on the tea leaves, it doesn't seem like the Bears, but it sounds like they were scared that someone else was coming again.
Yeah, I think there was probably. I mean, I would not be surprised if someone else was trying to slide in that spot with the Bears, and obviously, to your point, Bears probably weren't taking him if they're willing to trade down to get Darnell Wright. So they must have heard something.
Bears were also they were taking the lineman, I think. So
yeah, I'll trust Howie that someone else is trying to get there at 9. But again, they
gave up nothing.
They gave up a
4th rounder,
a comp pick to move up 1 spot and get their guy Jalen Carter, who was their guy the entire time.
They traded one of the picks they got in the tampering, right? Is that true?
Maybe. Yeah,
Okay,
I would have to look at it.
That one of the Giants podcasts I listened to seemed irritated that they got a free trade up.
Yeah, we mentioned on the draft stream, but there was I guess technically the Cardinals were tampering, and then there was some multi-trade late round pick that seemed to benefit the Eagles slightly here.
It's a 2024 fourth rounder that they gave up to move from 10 to 9.
Yeah, that's nothing. A+ pick here. You get your guy Jalen Carter, and I think it's a great spot for Jalen Carter. By all accounts, you've heard he's. I don't know. You heard all the stuff about the Jordan Davis being a mentor to him, Nakobe Dean being a mentor as well. He's in a good support system. I trust Dom, the Eagles security guy, very thorough with his background checks. If he's clearing them, and if Howie and Nick are clearing them, I feel good about the pick. So let's go. I mean, you look at his film, you can argue he is the best film of anyone in this class.
I think people were saying he could be the best defensive prospect in the class. So
yeah,
fair to
get him at 9.
Fair to get excited, and hopefully he can outdo Jordan Davis in his 26% snap share last year. So
Jordan Davis had he didn't have a dominant rookie season by all accounts. I think he progressed. The injury at the end of the year hurt him, but yeah, he certainly has a lot to work on in the offseason to live up to his 14th overall. I would expect Jalen Carter to have a more impactful year than Jordan Davis, and if he doesn't, I think it's going to be slightly disappointing. But I think the Eagles needed D-line help, and they got some here. It's really tough to find a defensive tackle that can impact the quarterback with the pass rush. So I love it.
he certainly is if he can figure out the off the field stuff. And I mean, you did a lot of talking about him without mentioning the fact that he somehow fell out of shape from the end of the football season.
I've mentioned that a number of times. That to me was
impressive.
That was him showing up to his pro day not in shape.
That's insane.
Yeah, that again, I think.
Why did Drew Rosenhaus cut off the meetings? Was it because he was so certain, or was it because he didn't want any dirt getting out because this guy is horrible in the meeting room?
I don't think he's great talking to the public or in interviews, but again, that's not his job. His job is to fucking sack quarterbacks, and I like his chances here, and I like the Eagles getting their hands on him and whipping him into shape.
Yeah, I said this on the stream, but I would be concerned because if they get into trouble, it's a package deal. You've lost your interior defensive line to some sort of street racing situation.
I mean, if he gets in trouble for street racing again, which I think he's an insane fucking idiot.
And I don't think we handicap this, but the fact that he's able to compete as a racer with the extra weight as a defensive tackle, a lot of those Formula One guys are pretty skinny.
Yeah, it's like a jockey. Usually the lightweight guys. You would expect Nolan Smith to be a better street racer.
It's hard to not give this pick an A. So I'll go A- just to throw some shade, because I do think that if we're now getting to mini camp time and we're still hearing about him being kept off the field for reasons, then we're going to have an open conversation about his work ethic.
Obviously, if he doesn't play because he's too fat, this would be a bad pick.
Well, but you giving this a 10 is saying there's 0% risk of that.
No, I think me giving this a 10 is
the scale go to 20 then, or
no? Again, getting him at 9.
Okay.
After winning the NFC Championship, you get the best defensive player as far as film goes. That to me is an A+ move. It's a quality organization move. Chicago Bears, Darnell Wright, offensive tackle out of Tennessee. I'll give it I don't have a great handicap on Darnell Wright being better, worse. I mean, I thought he was pretty solid. I'll give it a B+, but I'm not great at grading.
I like the pick.
You like.
Well, I told
Wright.
you he was the best lineman.
Yeah.
I told you he was going to go first, which we were close, and I told you he was going to go to the Bears. He was the dude that shut down Will Anderson. Just going to keep rinsing and repeating that. Yeah, Bears did the right thing.
Gary K in the YouTube chat. Jalen Carter might be a bust. I mean, you could say that about every one of these guys, right?
I don't think all of these guys you worry about their ability to play football because of these silly things off the field. That's all. Like Lucas Van Ness, you're not worried about
True.
him showing up
But
to
he
the
could be a
building
bust.
in one piece.
He could be a bust. He could just be a guy
Absolutely.
who's really good at getting blocked.
Everyone could be a bust. So when you add in these bits of like, 5% chance he gets arrested and never sees the field, 5% chance,
5%.
5%.
Where are you coming up with these
I'm
numbers?
just arbitrary numbers. Obviously, 5% chance he's fat and out of shape at the start of the season, and Jalen Hurts does not like that.
Well, that's why you have a strong leader like Jalen Hurts in the locker room. He's not going to put up with that shit. Chad G says, "How about that Broncos draft pick?" Oh wait, God, I hate Russell Wilson.
It was a great pick. It was Devin Witherspoon. You could have had Patrick Surtain and Devin Witherspoon on both. That would have been
not Russell Wilson. I think that's a big takeaway. All right, we got more draft grades and our round 2 picks before we do. Shout out officially to Shady Rays. If you haven't, ShadyRays.com, promo code SGPN. I'm gonna be going out on a little hike near the beach. We're gonna be rocking those Shady Rays polarized shades. Again, all you got to do is order 2 pairs. Use the promo code SGPN. You get 50% off. And again, they've been rated 5 stars by over 200,000 people. Kramer was rocking his Shady Rays for the entire 4 hours indoors. That's how much he loves his Shady Rays. You know, maybe you got something going on with your eyes. You don't want people to know. Shady Rays, great at covering that up. Great at overall eye protection. And of course, Underdog Fantasy, baby. If you haven't signed up with Underdog Fantasy, what are you waiting for? Saturday, Best Ball Mania 4 officially starts, where they're giving away $15 million in prizes. That's insane. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code SGPN, 100% deposit bonus up to $100. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code SGPN. And make sure you stay to the end of the show. We will be giving out the Shady Rays Parlay of the day. I've already got it in. You will win $1,700 if the parlay hits and if you've entered in the contest.
Okay.
So pretty awesome.
Get your own 2-leg parlay in. Step 1.
Skoronski to the Titans. Well, I'm gonna just give this I'll give it a 6, a B. What are you doing, Kramer?
You can never crush an offensive line.
It's hard,
I guess, and it's a great name, Peter Skoronski.
Yeah, how he didn't end up on the Bears, I don't know.
I hear it was the second choice for Peter Griffin won for Family Guy, but Peter Skoronski works just the same. I think the only knock is that maybe he's not a tackle, and so you've taken a guard at 11.
Yeah, that was the concern, and that's why I didn't think the Eagles were going to. There was a lot of odds that showed they were in on Skoronski.
Where do you stand on that though? Because a lot of times the guys that end up not being the tackles are guards that play sooner and are better sooner.
Yeah, I mean that's fine, but I don't think number 11 overall.
Plug and play.
Yeah,
this is a compete now move.
They're
very confused as a franchise.
And I don't. Where does DeAndre Hopkins end up? Because it seemed like that them trading up to 3 was a done deal, but they must have got word that Stroud wasn't available at 3, so they said, "Well, fuck that. We're not going to trade up." There was a moment where they were trading up to 3, and the talk was that they were going to get DeAndre Hopkins and pick CJ Stroud number 3. Franchise changing moves for the Titans. Instead, just Peter Skoronski. So I guess you just gotta hang tight, and maybe they're in the Will Levis market. I'm
going to be betting on the Titans and the Texans to win that division this year. I'm going with that's my half of the South. The other teams can.
What are you doing
here,
Ryan?
I think it's your grade's probably right, a B. He'll probably be a good player right away, but it just doesn't make sense for a team that seemed like they were getting ready to get rid of their quarterback and running back and rebuild.
Detroit Lions select Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm giving this F. No other way to see it. There just isn't. At 12, you're taking Jahmyr Gibbs, a running back. You have DeAndre Swift. You have David Montgomery.
Why not trade back?
Yeah, at the very least. I mean, we gave out Lions to draft a running back early in our draft props shows, and they did it. And we even said, don't take Bijan, take running back just in case it is the Lions.
And it was a much better price. It was 8-1 for Bijan, 35-1 just for a running back. Look, Jahmyr Gibbs, I think, was liked by NFL teams more than the draft community. I think this was always going to happen. Him going in the first round. It came out that he was on the Giants board. The Giants would have happily taken Jahmyr Gibbs. Apparently, that could just be the little nudge to Saquon and get the fuck on the field and play for $10 million. I can't. I'm not gonna say a full blown F.
Really? I feel comfortable saying F
Because there is
he's only gonna how many snaps is he gonna get next year?
Bijan Robbins. What do you mean? How many snaps is he?
Jahmyr Gibbs. Like how often is he out on the field?
I think he'll be out on the field a good amount.
So then they don't. So then why did they sign David Montgomery?
I agree. I'm completely with you that like the idea of why did you like, because obviously Swift isn't part of your future. So the future is David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. And you're putting together this super team, sans the guys that wanted to get down on some Tulane action.
Craig Reynolds, I thought looked okay for them too. I just don't think they needed it.
I 100% agree they didn't need to take a running back here, but why did we say they were going to take a running back all offseason? Because Dan Campbell's a football guy. They're competing right now, and this gives them a weapon. And I will say the one argument for the running back is what position gets involved quicker than any other position in terms of contributing to an offense. It's Jahmyr Gibbs.
Well, maybe
it's a pass catching back that can plug right into an offense that's already dynamic, already has things you have to pay attention to. So I can't crush it.
Easy a Lions fan saying F-. We could have gotten him with the number 34 pick.
That's why it's a bad pick.
And that's how I do these grades.
So I'll go D.
D. Okay.
The reason because
but don't you trade Swift before? I don't know.
It's very puzzling, but it's the Lions.
Yeah. Lucas Van Ness, DN out of Iowa, goes to the Packers.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll give it a
B.
Yeah, B. Again,
he's a big dude. I said this, if he played in the SEC, maybe a little bit. I mean, obviously they figured it out by the time the draft happened, but he wasn't a first rounder at the end of the season. So.
No. He got a little hype from testing, which is always a little nerve wracking. Broderick Jones, offensive tackle, goes to the Steelers at 14. Had to trade up for that. I'll trust Cameron Kerr, Steelers insider. I'll give it a B+. Went up, got their guy.
Again, why are you trading up in a bad tackle class?
That's fair.
Like the Steelers, I guess they were always going to take a lineman though, because they needed to give Pickett some protection. So I'll give it a flat B.
Flat B.
Can't crush an offensive line pick.
Yeah.
Unless it's the Cardinals, who traded up a lot.
Will McDonald, defensive end, Iowa State, goes to the New York Jets.
This was the whoa moment, I guess. People didn't expect this to
No,
happen.
he wasn't in my. I didn't have him in my mock draft.
One of the few guys, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know. I guess if I didn't have him going in my first round mock, Jets taking him at 15 feels like a bit of a reach. I'll give him a C+.
I think a lot of people. This would be the consensus outside of Will Levis falling. This is probably the consensus, right?
Yeah.
In terms of like shocking pick.
Well, the Jahmyr Gibbs
more shocking?
100%.
I'm having a bit of a blind spot. I mean, I'm fully aware it's a bad pick, but I do think this helps the Lions win the division this year. You know what I mean? Like, and I think they're strangely.
I don't.
No. You don't think Jahmyr Gibbs makes them better like right now?
I guess I would look at it wins over replacement. I think there were plenty of other guys like a Jalen Carter that you could have taken. Instead, your win over replacement from Jahmyr Gibbs to DeAndre Swift, I don't think is more than some of these other impact players. No.
Yeah, they obviously feel differently about how dynamic he is.
Yeah, I don't see it. What do you got, Will McDonald? What are you doing here, Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, you have to grade this low because I don't think anyone saw it happening this early in the first round. A lot of people said there's only a couple dozen top prospects, but still to have something shocking happen even in a draft like that, I'll go lower than you. Give me a C.
C.
And the Jets, they're screwing.
Commanders, they take Emmanuel Forbes. Maybe shocking here, cornerback Mississippi State with Christian Gonzalez still on the board. Did you have Emmanuel Forbes over Christian Gonzalez?
I did not, but we did discuss this. Colby alluded to this on the stream, but Christian Gonzalez, a little soft.
Yeah,
might be a little soft, and so Emmanuel Forbes. We discussed this on one of our prop show. He was definitely a guy who was almost certainly going to be a first rounder, and the way that he plays, he's long, he's athletic, he plays aggressively, not soft. So yeah. Unfortunately, this is a good pick, Sean.
Yeah, I'm gonna go B+ for them.
Yeah, sounds good. No need to give him an A-.
No. And then Patriots, they do take Christian Gonzalez out of Oregon.
Horrible pick.
Pac-12 cornerbacks. I don't know. I'm trying to think of some other. Good
Don't
ones
care
off
about the
top of my head.
Pac-12. Just care that this guy he appears to be soft, like both in his film and his just him off the field.
Nose ring stud is a red flag.
This is
me.
not
that is not dog mentality.
Steve Belichick, Christian Gonzalez.
I'll give it a B. I'll give it a B-. I'll give it a B- because they did get what many had as the number 1 ranked cornerback at 17. So I'll give him credit for that.
Like the value, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Although I will say, the more that I read about this kid, the less that I liked him. But it just doesn't seem like he's going to fit in New England. So I'll say a B. I can't crush it because he was going in the top 10 of some mock drafts at some point. So
Detroit Lions take Jack Campbell, off-ball linebacker out of Iowa.
this pick's worse.
Liability and coverage. This is also an F for me.
This is worse than the Jahmyr.
They
Gibbs
just
pick.
had the biggest whiff of the draft.
The Giants seem to be interested in Jack Campbell in the second round.
I mean, Nolan Smith is available.
I mean, completely different position, but I don't think many teams thought Jack Campbell or any of the inside linebackers.
I mean, just
were
as
gonna
far
go in
as
the
like
first round.
you know, Easy telling us how much they need D line help. Even Mazzie Smith, I think I'd rather him. Brian Breesy, Kalijah Cansey. There was a lot of other defenders on the board.
Upgrade
even Michael Mayer.
This might be my second F. Yeah, second F.
Okay,
Sorry.
it's indefensible. Next up, Kalijah Cansey does go to the Tampa Bay Bucks. You know, his big shortcoming is the short arms, but he's going to. I mean, the head coach, defensive guy, seems like a good spot for him. Tampa Bay also
Bucks,
in that situation, just need a ton of help.
Bucks once upon a time had a dynamic.
I'll take
tackle.
I'll take B+ because I think he does have a nice upside here. You're going A. Okay.
He was one of the guys I really hoped would fall. I think he's a guy that, similar to Aaron Donald, like his undersizedness scared people off, but then you watch him play and it's like, oh, this actually doesn't make any sense. So they got a great I think in the same way that you spoke about Jalen Carter, we could be looking back on this pick and saying, wow, he went 20th. That's crazy.
Jackson Smith and Jigba goes number 20 to the Seattle Seahawks, receiver out of Ohio State. I think this is a pretty solid pick. I think he rounds out the rest of the Seahawks receiver group pretty well. I think
he fits well. Yeah.
Yeah. I think him in the slot there, I think is pretty good. They got their cornerback that they liked first, and then got the receiver. They probably number 1 on their boards. So I'll give it I think I'll give it an A actually. He was 20-1 to go to Seattle. So that I saw Jake Paquin in the chat cash that. So that's a nice hit.
Imagine
I had him in my mock as well.
Imagine having a sweat out of -350. Like the fact that he went. This is exactly what we discussed. Like if there's no receiver in the top 10, then not the top 15, top 20. All of a sudden that variance gets crazier and crazier. So the fact that he still came home was a little disappointing for our darts. But I thought it was going to be Zay Flowers because it just seems like he could develop into more. But yeah, obviously everyone likes Ohio State receivers. Seattle, I'll give this one a B+. I'm not as locked in on Jackson Smith and Jigba as everyone else.
Yeah, I think his like absolute ceiling. I don't even think he just feels like a poor man's Cooper Kupp, which in this receiver class, it might be kind of the best you get. Quentin Johnson goes next here in their little receiver run to the Chargers, 21.
This pick made no sense.
He feels like
no sense.
He feels like a poor man's Mike Williams. So I'll give it a B-. I think if I was them, I would have gone speed. I did have them mocking Quentin Johnson to the Chargers. It seemed like a guy that they would be interested in.
That's crazy because it just seemed like they already have those guys.
Yeah, but it just seems like such a Chargery pick.
Yeah,
you got to put your mind in the GM box, Ryan. They.
I mean, Addison was playing in Los Angeles. How did they miss that? I would say because
or even Zay. If I was them, I would have gone Zay Flowers or Addison, but.
But even the idea of them taking more receivers, I guess they're loading up. I can't kill it because I do like Quentin Johnston. So I'll say B. I just think God, Zay Flowers is gonna be the best guy.
And he goes to the Baltimore Ravens, doing anything they can to kiss Lamar's ass, signing the big deal. He goes number 23, kid out of Boston College. I'll give this a B plus. Again, they need dynamic receivers. Unfortunately, they signed Odell Beckham, but Zay Flowers has some nice potential for them. And now you got Bateman, Zay Flowers, and Odell Beckham Jr. And then
what's the excuse this year? Well,
I still think that division obviously is super, super tough. I mean, they could sign a franchise quarterback and still be last place in the division.
My favorite part is like we got to find ways.
Or I guess I got him beating the Browns.
We got to find ways to bet Browns last place, right?
I'll give it a B plus.
Yeah, I love the guy. I think Zay Flowers is gonna be the best receiver, and strangely, I think he really works with Lamar. I think he's gonna be good at freestyling with Lamar, and it's gonna maybe allow Bateman to fall into a role, and Odell can fall into a. Odell was good last time we saw him, Sean. I understand he's coming off the injury. The contract sucks, but
late career ACL.
I'm in. I know our social guy Josh asked about betting Lamar MVP again this year. I think he
no
said
thanks.
16-1. And I do want to get excited about the Ravens. I don't know if I can pull the trigger on the MVP. I'll say a B.
Flat B.
Probably the normal Ravens would have gone cornerback here, I think.
Minnesota Vikings select Jordan Addison. A lot of rumors they were maybe interested in Levis or interested in trading up for a quarterback. Don't pull the trigger.
They still think they're competing.
Filling in for Adam Thielen, Jordan Addison. Again, he has a nice. If you're Jordan Addison, this is a good scenario. You're going to play in a dome in an offense that throws the ball a bunch, and you have someone else guarding Justin Jefferson. So I think this is an ideal situation for a receiver. He may even have a little fantasy value as a rookie. I'm going to go A- here.
I'm a little concerned
because of the situation.
I'll say B, but the first thing he said when he got on the phone with the GM for Minnesota, let's get paid.
Well, speaking of that,
he left Pitt to go to USC to get paid. He's going to Minnesota. The deals off the field aren't quite as lucrative up there, so hopefully he can talk to Justin about getting paid.
Drastic changes saying, LOL, who has he had to throw to the ball to? Talking about Lamar.
Oh my God.
All four of his running backs tore their ACL in one season. Lamar also has a bunch of nagging health stuff. So,
and he showed you as a fan
according to Jeremy Roenick, he opted out of.
You as a fan, your quarterback not willing to go all the way to the limit.
Kyle P saying, I didn't like that comment either.
Yeah, get paid. I mean, come on.
Yeah, Kyle P, huge Vikings.
That's a very strange slip. You're like, you're going to be recorded. You're going to be excited. Like, what am I going to say? Let's get paid.
I guess if I was defending him, I would say, hey, hey, it's about winning. You get paid. It's also like an expression, but also sounds like a guy who was really excited about the check.
Yeah. Like Will Levis in his in-season monetization question to the Mannings.
Yeah, that and supposedly Peyton still recommended him, but asking about in-season monetization sound like the guys who work for us. It's like, hey, let's figure out winning and then getting paid. Yeah. Step one, win, Will Levis.
Yeah. Championship bonus.
You're also gonna get paid. New York Giants, Deonte Banks, cornerback out of Maryland. How say you, Ryan?
Well, all process. What were we were going against the grain. Every show I went on, people thought I was had a hot take because it was no, they're not going to take a receiver. They're not going to take a receiver. They're going to take a cornerback. That was my prediction.
Maybe they do take a receiver but 4 went right in front of them.
So Joe Shane discussed that briefly, and it certainly seemed like the receivers were in their subset of players that they had with first round grades, and so. In their words, part of the reason for the trade up is they wanted to make sure they got one of those guys with a first round grade. Reading between the lines, that tells me Deonte Banks was the last guy they had with that grade. I think we're going to learn something about Joey Porter Jr. in terms of something medical. Maybe
well, he also could go first to the Steelers at 32.
And I think this pick is all about, like, you saw the excitement of Wink Martindale. He looking pretty swole, by the way. he was excited. This is a man cover corner, press cover corner, whatever you want to call it. It's certainly going to help with the defense. Clear position of need, and not a big RAS score guy, Sean, but 9.9999 off the charts athletically. 42. What would you do with a 42-inch vertical? How weird would life be if you could jump that high?
Who says I can't?
For 4.35 and a 42-inch vertical, you know,
I'll give it a B minus.
Cornerbacks are, you got to see it. They're always going to start slow generally.
Already lowering the expectations.
No, I mean that's just generally how it is. I love the pick.
So
though.
he doesn't start out fast.
I'm going to go
process.
A minus.
I'll go B minus because I do think we'll look back and say Joey Porter was the pick over Banks. Would be my prediction. Dalton Kincaid goes to the Buffalo Bills. Adam Pelletier not happy with this pick, and I kind of got to agree with him. Like, why are you paying Dawson Knox? You already paid your tight end. What are you doing
up,
here?
Right?
Yeah, there was like a little not crazy, but they did trade up.
Well, you know why they traded up.
We love to get a tight end.
We love this pick because they traded up to steal Kincaid from the Cowboys. I like Kincaid.
Yeah, I guess it's weird because I like Kincaid. I do think he's going to fit the offense, but then why would you pay Dawson Knox?
That's to me.
Are you incorporating that in your draft grade?
I think it makes the pick strange.
Yeah.
But so Dawson Knox has always maybe Dawson Knox just isn't becoming the player they want.
Then why pay him?
Well, I don't know.
So yeah,
maybe Joe Shane was really the genius up in Buffalo, and now that he's down in New York, they don't know which buttons to push. Sean,
I won't totally kill them because I'm with you. I like Dalton Kincaid as a prospect, and I think he could be good in the Bills' offense. But you already paid Dawson Knox, and you're not filling a position of need when they do have a couple holes on this roster.
Sean, if this was the Giants' pick, you would be killing it because you're drafting a tight end in the first round. You traded up for a tight end in the first round.
Yeah, you're right. I'll give it a C minus.
But
I do think he will be decent. But you're right. The fact you traded up, the fact that you already have Dawson Knox, I think you gotta knock him for it.
And I think specifically, it's just there's still defensive linemen on the. I don't think you get cute just to take a guy when there's actual
Mozzie Smith.
Offense, whatever. I'll go a little higher than UC plus. I do think he could make he could again in the same vein as Jahmyr Gibbs. I do think he. I think he'll be.
He's definitely a guy I'm going to be betting some 2 touchdown prop bets. Or
he won't be blocking, that's for sure. So he'll be involved.
He was fun. He was a fun watch at Utah. Dallas Cowboys select Mozzie Smith, athletic freak, kind of all over the place. Defensive tackle for Michigan.
I hate that it's a good pick.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a C plus because I'm gonna give it an F because it's the Cowboys for the Cowboys. But I do think this is, I mean, again, you're going up against teams like the Eagles who have a very good offensive line. You need guys like Mozzie Smith to do battle. So
I'm gonna go with an A.
Okay.
Here's
trying to jinx it.
Well, A, always love when the Cowboys win the offseason. B, I really appreciate Jerry Jones and the Jones family, the ownership group at the Cowboys, for leaning into their heel nature and just absolute tremendously horrible people angle. Their war room looked like Darth Vader's lair or something. I mean,
remember one year he had it on the
yacht?
Yeah, that was great.
When he was probably off eating people. Well, this time
getting his stem cell.
They were in an evil lair. They were literally in an evil lair. I don't know. A little odd to see Jerry take a Michigan man, but
no, that's also true.
I think what a great pick for Micah Parsons.
Oh, Micah Parsons reacting to Jalen Carter was pretty. He's like, I'm gonna get sick to my stomach.
Oh no.
He's worried. Jacksonville Jaguars take Anton Harrison, offensive tackle, Oklahoma. This is just kind of like a blah pick. I mean, they traded down, got a little bit more draft capital.
A 7th and a 5th.
Well, yeah, and it sounds like they could need some offensive tackle depth, dealing with some suspensions, that kind of stuff.
I think again, this is probably the right point to be taking tackles because much. Not a strong class, so I guess this is it was always going to be the position. I thought there was a chance they could go defense. Maybe they needed some help in the on the defensive side of the ball. I don't know if you watched them play this year, but their defense wasn't always on top.
They did get 4 interceptions. Oh wait, no, that was that was Trevor Lawrence threw 4 interceptions.
Yeah, that was the other way.
Okay, yeah. I'm gonna give him I'll give him a 5, which we got as a B minus.
Yeah, I'll go B minus as well. I really thought they were going defense, but don't hate the pick. Offensive line can't kill offensive line.
Bengals take Miles Murphy, defensive end, Clemson.
Great pick.
I like it. Again, you're in a conference. You always need more pass rush. I'll give it an A minus.
Defensive line, offensive line, you really can't crush.
Yeah, especially if you're the Bengals. I mean, Luke Musgrave would have been fun here, but
every year the best teams have
probably
good
get him
offensive and
later.
defensive lines.
So what are you going, Ryan?
I think Miles. I like Miles Murphy better than the next Clemson pick.
Okay.
I think Miles Murphy has a chance to shake out as one of the better pass rushers in the group. Ended up watching a decent amount of stuff on him because the Giants were interested in him as well, and so I like my own 9. A.
Okay. Harv COD said my first time in a live show. Let's go. Let it ride.
Cash on
Thank you
delivery.
for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty? Yeah, I don't know.
Cash on delivery.
What's up, Harv? Thanks for checking in. YouTube.com. Smash that subscribe button. Always trying to get your questions in there as well. Saints taking Brian Brise.
Yeah. I think it was Brise.
Brian Brise, defensive lineman, Clemson. I'm with you. I would probably have Miles Murphy ahead of him, but he wasn't
Saints
there.
make no sense every year.
I don't know what kind of team they're building.
They're trying to win. They're the favorites in their division.
Yeah.
And they take attack. Like what?
Derek Carr is a favorite. Don't like it.
So their offense is set. They're just going to load up on the defense. Again, you can't crush the pick, but they're probably a team that should have let someone call and trade up for a quarterback. We've now heard the reports that teams tried to, but
yeah.
I'll go B plus.
B plus. I'll go straight B. It's just kind of a boring, but maybe the best there. B feels right. Eagles select Nolan Smith, 30th out of Georgia. I mean, bird dogs. This defensive. I mean, it's crazy. We got 4 guys from that one of the historically good college football defenses of all time. I like Nolan Smith. I mean, I said
they got to get on the field though.
I said a number of times I was fine with them taking Nolan Smith at 10. So if they get him at 30, that to me A plus. How he does it. I mean, I don't know how.
Wow.
Again, he's small, but maybe there's something else we're not seeing with an injury thing.
They got to get on the field. These Georgia guys.
Sure.
N'Kobe Dean 3% snap share last year, so we'll have to work it up on the defense.
Well, N'Kobe Dean, they didn't. They had Kazir White. They had guys ahead of him. Again, yeah, we'll see how N'Kobe Dean does. But
I'm just saying, so far the Georgia guys got to translate into actual playing time.
Nolan Smith here. And I like that we're so in your head. You're looking up N'Kobe Dean snap shares.
No, I just wanted to make sure we were talking.
No,
the
I
same
didn't.
language.
I didn't say Nolan Smith I didn't say N'Kobe Dean had an awesome rookie year.
No, I just figured you would
he's
tout all these
contributor
Georgia picks and.
Yeah, I like drafting guys from Georgia and Alabama. Since Howie started doing that versus drafting fucking Riley Cooper, although Riley Cooper had his moments on the field, not off the field. What he said there was
He's
completely
just a country fan.
That's a real piece of shit move. But in general, like some of the Florida guys, some of these Pac-12 guys he took in the first round.
So you just want Georgia and Alabama going forward?
Yeah, I would be fine with that. If you just drafted Georgia and Alabama players,
9 of the first 31 picks were from Georgia, Alabama, and Ohio State.
You can outthink it, or you can just draft a guy like Nolan Smith, who again, bit of a luxury because the size thing, but they've figured out how to get Hassan Reddick going, and he's a smaller guy. So I mean, a lot of people are comping Nolan Smith to Hassan Reddick.
Probably need a 2-door sedan to street race with all 4 of them in the same car.
Right. I don't even know what to say. I'm here to talk ball. Nolan Smith again, like
has to be an A.
He's not going to be a 3 down line, but he doesn't need to be. They're going to rotate him, Derek Barnett, Brandon Graham. So he's going to be used. He's going to be used as a situational guy, and I think he's really going to help. So A plus.
Yeah, between the 3 of them, they'll have a combined snap share of 100%. That sounds about right.
Yeah. I mean, that's how you keep your D line fresh. That's how you lead the league in sacks last year. And again, if they decide to play the Super Bowl on a grass field that's not been coated in icing.
Oh, so we're still blaming the field that both teams played on.
The field was bullshit.
So the field that both teams participated on.
Right, but obviously the Eagles relied more on their pass rush. Kansas City Chiefs. Felix, a new DK Uzoma out of Kansas State.
Okay, great pick. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't do a ton of work on him. I'll give him a B+.
I figured the Chiefs would trade down to someone who wanted that quarterback. Surprised they didn't. The
Eagles supposedly got a bunch of calls. Yeah, and for that I'll give them a B- because they could have taken the trade out here. I don't think Zoma's like a game changer.
Do we know why Nolan Smith fell?
No, I the only knock against
it's always
him
great
is
to
his
get
size.
a guy who falls, but obviously when someone falls,
they usually
the
fall
market is saying something.
Yeah, I think some people have height and weight requirements for certain positions. So right there, you could knock like 6 or 7 teams.
Yeah,
because he doesn't hit the weight limit.
But to be a guy who was like flirting with the top 10 pick, like the Eagles were getting mocked him at 10, and then I saw other mocks that were mocking him there at 30. So strange to see such a wide range of.
I didn't see anyone that had Nolan Smith.
Day of, I 100% saw someone who mocked Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith.
Jimmy Kemsky, Eagles beat reporter, pretty funny guy on Twitter as well. He tweeted out, "If someone mocked the Eagles getting Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith, I would have laughed at them and never trusted anything they put out."
Why is that? Because his sources?
Or no, just because it was such an impossible thing coming in to get both those guys that were both super high on their board.
Yeah, well, so
I'm giving the Chiefs a B-. What are you doing?
Yeah, it's fine. B.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I would have preferred they didn't pick that guy.
All right, now let's get to some fun stuff here with the who will draft. We got 3 draft odds. First up, Will Levis. Where will he go? Titans plus 225, Rams plus 350, Raiders plus 500, Patriots 10-1, Falcons 11-1, Bucks 12-1, Vikings 12-1, Seahawks 13-1, Lions 14, Commanders 14-1. What are you doing here?
All right, I got the draft. Let me pull up the order. I mean, so we've already heard that some people are trying to trade up to Pittsburgh. Which by the way, revisiting it, but Claypool turned into the 32nd pick in the draft. But it does sound like. Do you think Pittsburgh trades it? Like someone comes. It sounds like Tennessee has had conversations with Pittsburgh about trading up, and it sounds like they expect that to be for Levis.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to fall for that. That trap again. But
are we not? So we're not looking at any news. We don't want to listen to anything.
No, I think.
Oh my God! I just read something that Tom Pelissero reports the Lions would have been comfortable drafting Gibbs at 6. They're putting gasoline on the fire.
They're making it worse. So I'm not going to take the chalky stuff here. Titans are 225. I'll take the Vikings at 12-1. I still think there was so much rumors about them trading up. I think they were trading up, probably trying to get CJ Stroud like the Titans. I think they would settle for Will Levis. So, and again, they have a longer runway.
What pick would that be?
It's a good question.
Because I also have his total. You want to know his draft position?
Vikings would be at 56, I think.
37.5 is Will Levis's draft position. Under is -165 right now. So based on that, it's got to happen early, right? But I guess anyone could trade up.
Do Vikings not have a 2nd round pick?
Oh, that's hilarious. Great take, Sean. Yeah, they don't have a 2nd.
Okay, yeah. So they
gave it to Detroit.
They're drafting at 87, 3rd round. But I think they would, if they go Levis, they'll move up. But what are you doing here?
Based on the total being 37.5, who by the way, Seattle drafts 37th right now. What's their price?
So they're 13-1. All right, I'll stick with the Vikings, but you make Seattle being better odds and drafting sooner.
That if you don't want me to give you Titans or Rams, that's where I'll go. Although
no, you can give out whatever you want. Give out your
Vegas goes 38th. Yeah, give me Seattle.
Seattle 13-1.
I do think that makes sense. They take a quarterback. I mean, Geno Smith's deal is not exactly a long-term deal.
Easy saying Lions at 34. 14-1 is a great price for the Lions to go full Lions. Have to take it.
Where do they pick though? They don't have a
34th.
No, Arizona has that pick, right? Oh,
no, Arizona has
That's
33.
Right. That was a trade.
The Lions would maybe trade out of that spot too. I'll stick with my first instinct, Vikings.
And what's wrong with Joey Porter Jr. that the Steelers aren't going to stay pat and just draft him?
Oh, maybe they will, but like and I think they might. We'll see. Which team will draft Michael Mayer? Lions are the favorite at +180. Jets 5-1.
The Lions,
Packers 550. Cowboys 12-1. Giants 14-1. Bengals 14-1.
I would be very surprised if the Giants drafted Mayer. I do think the Giants could trade up again. Like I said, I don't think they're using all their picks to take players this year. So I wouldn't be surprised if they trade up in the second round. But I think I mocked Mayer to the Packers in the first round.
Yeah.
I think
him at 45.
I think that's pretty interesting. I certainly, I mean, the way that, I mean, what if you're Indy, I guess, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know where else it makes sense for him to go.
Cowboys 12-1.
Who's the chalk? Lions at 180. What the fuck?
Cowboys are they're there at 58.
They have Brock Wright. They have James Mitchell.
I think we're higher on those guys than the Lions,
Okay.
but who knows? That didn't stop them from drafting a running back. You can say they had DeAndre Swift and David Montgomery. I think I'll go with the Packers +550 for Michael Mayer. I think that's a pretty good price. It fits a need. They have him at 45. I was hearing a bunch of stuff that they liked him. So yeah, connecting the dots there. Michael Mayer to the Packers.
Give me the
+550.
Chargers.
Okay. And Chargers are picking. They're at
They're not until 54.
54.
Maybe some finagling.
Okay.
We'll fire on that.
What are the Chargers price?
20-1.
All right, little long shot. Okay.
And by the way, his draft position prop is also 37.5. That's actually a good point. The Raiders need a tight end. Switch my pick. What's the Raiders price? 14-1. Give me the Raiders.
Okay.
It's possible to bet both of those things at the same time.
Now we got Hendon Hooker. First off, does Hendon Hooker go ahead of Will Levis? That's pretty interesting. Vikings here are the favorite at 4-1. Then Raiders 425, Titans 450, Rams 650, Seahawks 650, Commanders 10-1, Pats 12-1, Lions 15-1. I'm going the long shot here because I think this is a real crapshoot where he ends up. I'm taking the Bucks at 16-1. I had him going to the Bucks in my mock draft. I thought they might take a quarterback there in the first round, and I think if they can get Hendon Hooker at 50th overall,
is he a second rounder?
Hendon Hooker?
Yeah,
I think so. At 50 to the Bucks, yeah.
Total currently sitting at 49.5. Sean, under at -145.
See, that's why it's perfect. Maybe they just have to move up a couple spots.
And yeah, to your point, who's at 49?
Steelers,
and then
Lions, Commanders, 49, 48, 47. I'm going Bucks, baby.
I don't think it would be the Commanders. I do wonder if, yeah, that's a good pick.
Let's go.
I don't hate that,
especially
pick.
at the price. It feels like a crapshoot between these favorites. Like I don't feel so good about him at Tennessee or Rams or Raiders or Vikings. Like it obviously could be any of those, but I'd rather take the long shot for a team that needs a quarterback.
I think if he falls into the third round, the Giants are in play.
Gary K saying Titans 450, Bucks 16-1. Yeah, I don't hate that.
You didn't hear me.
If what?
I said if he falls to the third round, Giants are in play.
Really?
Oh my God.
According to your sources?
I think second and third round they'll be looking to trade up.
I
think there's guys they like. I think they think there's a lot of shit in this draft, and I think they're going to look to dump their late round picks to move up.
All right, Ryan. Any other? We have some other team to draft player stuff. Any thoughts on what the Dolphins, Browns, Broncos, any of these interest you? The markets, Rams.
Well, I actually have a market that I thought would interest you.
Sure, let's go.
Next tight end without Mayer. Darnell Washington -130.
Woo.
Luke Musgrave +130. Sam Laporta 3-1. I can tell you right now, I'm betting on Sam Laporta.
Yeah, 3-1. Let's go. You talked me into it. I've lost enough money on Luke Musgrave.
I don't think it's gonna. I mean, I think I read a couple things where someone thinks Sam Laporta could come off the board before Mayer.
Yeah.
So
no, Laporta had a wide variety of outcomes.
Great weekend for Iowa.
Yeah, seriously. So yeah, lock it up. Sam Laporta at 3-1. I'm co-signing that.
What about next wide receiver?
Okay, what are the odds?
Mingo, not Hyatt, is the favorite at +150. Hyatt +160. Downs +300. Cedric Tillman, a guy I was talking about in the offseason. The other Tennessee guy, 425. None of those. Tyler Scott 12-1. None of those are exciting for me.
Yeah, I guess if I had to choose, I go Hyatt, but not that price isn't interesting enough, honestly.
Yeah.
Hey, time for the Shady Rays parlay of the day. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/shady to enter. And again, just toss in your receipt there of you using the promo code SGPN to get your Shady Rays, and you're good to go. All right, big reveal, and shout out to the guys from the NBA Gambling Podcast helping craft part of this parlay.
We love the NBA here at the Sports Gambling Podcast Network.
So Ryan, the first part of the parlay from the NBA guys, Ja Morant to get 30 points, +110. They're telling me that's the way to go. I'll be listening.
They're razor sharp.
And then, because we go big or we go home here on the podcast, the Tampa Bay Bucks to draft Hendon Hooker, 16-1. Parlay those together. A $50 bet will win you $1,735.
Oh my God!
Feeling alive, Sean.
That is again. We're also going to be riding with you guys on this one, so rooting a lot for it, and we'll announce who won the who's winning the sweat later on social media. But sportsgamblingpodcast.com/shady still giving you time to get your entries in,
Sean.
And if parlay doesn't hit, we'll get you a gift card.
I just, before we get out of here, that I did see that the 2024 NFL draft market has officially opened.
Okay.
First pick, Caleb Williams is -550. That is insane. We are so far away. Listen to this. Drake May, the other guy we know down in North Carolina, 6-1. Okay. I'll tell you what, Sean, right now, Michael Penix Jr. is 50-1. That motherfucker could be the first overall pick. We should bet on him to win the Heisman.
Yeah.
We should bet on him to be the first overall pick. That's it. Let's go. And the one more. No, this is good because he's a bitch, but this is a redemption story. Spencer Rattler, 60-1. He was the top recruit. He was a 5-star. He's playing in the SEC. Will Levis. Let me start that again. Anthony Richardson was not a fucking first round pick before the season.
It's true.
And he was 3 picks away.
Some would argue still not a first round pick.
Nick's 80-1. Stop it. That's
come on. This is our audience. Hashtag
Quinn Ewers 50-1. He can't even come out. How are they offering that? That's insane. They're offering something that's impossible. Quinn Ewers can't come out, right?
I don't know.
This is his second year.
I'd have to double check it. All right. Thank you guys as always for tuning in. Make sure you
it is his
subscribe button. Toss a nice rating and review over on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Give us a follow on Spotify. Toss us the old 5 stars on Spotify. Awesome draft. Shout out to again everyone who tuned in, all the guys on the SGPN streams, the mock drafts. We did it all. We came, we saw, we conquered.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
For Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, second the money green, and he is Ryan.
Quinn Ewers and Michael Penix Jr. 50-1 each to be the first overall pick next year. Yes, please.
Kramer, let it ride.